I'm very much concerned that we are in quite similar situation today. We are so mesmerized by the fact that Russia is territorially large. It has, it can send hundreds of thousands of people to death, and they will not resist because they are slaves in a way. That they have these big economic resources which are shrinking very fast. Nevertheless, we continue to believe that they are economically powerful. And so we have all kind of preconcepts in our minds that we believe, and we are not willing to consider the reality that it is all disappearing. We all should remember that in February 2022, the Western media were full of predictions which were basically repeating Russian propaganda, but in English or in case of Denmark, Danish, I suspect, that Kiev will fall in 3 days and Ukraine will fall in 1 week or 2 weeks. And all these products of Russian propaganda, which Russians believe, but they were very successful in making Western people to believe this. We should learn from these failures of our intellectual analysis. I'm concerned that we are probably not learning fast enough. Now, Russia is a giant on the feet of clay. It is kept together by only 3 or 4 forces. One is obviously military and police coercion. When Chechnya, Ichkeria tried or became independent in 1992, what followed was military suppression of this rebellion. Brutal military suppression. Before Mariupol, there was Grozny, city erased to the ground by systemic bombing, hundreds of thousands of dead. No, the West did not pay attention because we had in Europe our own problems. So the military strength, the enforcement, repressive apparatus, that's what keeps it together. The second source are revenues from the oil and natural gas exports. Exports where? Well, until 2023 to Europe. We Europeans were financing Russian militarism. We were financing the war against Ukraine. The open war started in 2014, and still we were building Nord Stream 2. Yeah, like if nothing happened. Those monies are used, among other things, also to corrupt politicians in Europe and intellectuals in Europe. Gerhard Schröder is a kind of a big name of this, but many other nations, and as a Slovak I can tell you, have plenty, unfortunately, have plenty of politicians and intellectuals, public intellectuals, journalists, who are paid by Russian money. The source of those monies is primarily oil and natural gas export. We pay, Europeans pay for this. The third source is the Russian great nation ideology, which is pretty much chauvinistic. There are excellent surveys done by Levada, Sociological Center Levada, independent or quasi-independent center which operated in Moscow until 21 or 22. They made 7 surveys over the almost 30 years asking Russian people who are the biggest personalities of the whole human history, all times. Guess what is the result? Consistently, over those 30 years, out of 20 biggest personalities of all times and all nations, 17 were Russians. All of them since 17th century. There was no prehistory. The human history started in 17th century, and it is Russian history. They believe it. The only 3 out of the crowd made it was Hitler, because he was defeated by Russians, what they believe. Napoleon, because, as they believe, that he was defeated by Russia, and Albert Einstein somehow made it.
I thought Stalin.
Well, Stalin is number 1. I consider him a Russian. Of course, he's ethnically Georgian, but he was the boss of the Russian Empire, named in the 20th century's Soviet Union. And the fourth thing which keeps it together is our fear of the nuclear threat.